Good evening, Star Wars fanatics. The time is finally here. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Ben, and you've reached the Fanatics of Film. And we're just going to get into this. We're going to go over The Last Jedi. I bit the bullet and ended up buying the digital release of this thing. I was trying to hold out, but I ended up getting it. And anyway, I'm here with my good cohorts.
Hey, this is Neil. Come back to see what we've got. Now that we've got all three of us together, kind of dive a little deeper into the discussion.
All three, cutting him off, here together. We're here to bring it to you. We all have seen The Last Jedi now again. You guys have probably seen it now again as it's out. And we're here to just kind of rehash over everything. We have some few images. We're all going to comment on it. Stick tight. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. So we're just going to go through the things, and we're like we've always tried to do. We try to be positive on this channel, but we're just going to try to go through and find some of the good stuff. Right off, I'm going to say just real quick, like this film, I did see it. This is I think the third. I saw it twice in the theater, trying to like it the second time. This is the third time I finally seen it, and wow, I mean, visually, it is a beautiful film. Like, if you talk about, like, how much they tried to make it, it's like, this is, you can see all of the things that George was trying to create, like, come into fruition here. Like, all the beautiful colors, everything, like, the battle sequences, they're beautiful. That's one thing that, of course John Williams' music. Those are my two favorite parts of the film, are the music and the visuals.
Agreed. Yeah, I would say, and I thought when I initially saw it, it was just fantastic with the visual aspect of it. The tone really just brought me into the story. Sadly it fell apart after that as far as plot points, after that. But I mean, still, I enjoyed the tone. And I think that's why the movie still holds up for me, is because I really enjoyed, the design, the overall design of it. And the feeling that I got just from it made me feel like I was in that world, It wasn't as stale as I felt like when I was in the prequels, because that always just felt a little too CG for me, to where it didn't take me into the galaxy far, far away like Last Jedi did.
Yeah. One big thing that stuck out to me watching it again, and after we've kind of reviewed about all the news that's been going on, is that I can really appreciate Mark Hamill's performance. You can really see that he wasn't liking the direction that Luke was taking, and you can see it in his acting. Some of those opening scenes, when you guys look back, you can tell, like, dude, he was not having a good time, and it shows.
One of my biggest takeaways from this, seeing this last time, the third time, or it may have been the fourth time, but seeing this again, like, yeah, it's the same thing, and it's like I always say, and I've said this a million times to all you guys, said a million times, like, it's like he hadn't convinced me that he's Luke. He has convinced me that he's Jake, though. He's definitely convinced me that he's Jake Skywalker, which is and a very upset one at that. So
yeah, and two is there was another point, because in the video, Luke was talking about how he was wishy-washy, and that's another thing he didn't like. And yeah, the Yoda scene, and we'll get into that a little bit, how Luke's, I'm going to destroy the Jedi text. No, Yoda, you can't destroy the Jedi text. Just the acting all over.
Yeah.
But it comes back in the end. Because, like Neil was kind of saying, the movie brought me in the beginning, kind of like, got all over the place. But at least for me, it totally came back in the end. Closed it up. I like the double sunset, Luke going away in the wind. Maybe I didn't like him going away, but the idea of him coming back as a Force ghost powerhouse.
Yeah. And I'm still now for him coming back as like a full-fledged entity. I guess one of the big things I want to see was just Luke, hunkering down and being a hermit, but at the same time, actually studying his skills, doing all the stuff that you didn't see in Empire, and him training under Yoda, him actually taking the time, he hunted down the original temple, he's finding the actual books, he's finding the Force tree, he's basically doing his studying, and kind of also sitting back and going, hey, what have the Jedi done wrong? Why do they keep failing? Why has this not worked? Why have they not been able to protect the galaxy in the way that, everybody expects them to, or at least I was brought up thinking that they could? And so Luke then devising his own techniques for training, his own kind of philosophies on where to take the Force from there. We talked about this before with Gray, and then just him finding the balance. And one thing that I was, I'll make this quick point too, is just like him actually presenting that stuff to Rey, and then kind of letting her go to the dark side, and realizing that, hey, maybe her raw emotions and her being abandoned was one of the reasons why she is so connected with the Force to begin with, because she's connected to that darker side of things, and how she's able to grasp onto things so quickly is because she's kind of got that dark side going on.
I can't wait till we get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I may have jumped the gun on a lot of stuff.
I definitely want to get to that for sure. Yeah. So, but anyway.
Luke!
Without further ado, we're gonna get into this, and hopefully you guys can hang tough with us. So this first zooming motion, of course, it's the same music from the original A New Hope that's happening here. It's the exact same music from A New Hope, which was cool. But the completely different take on zooming in on the fleet, trying to escape from. I feel so awful. I can't remember the name of this planet. But do you guys remember the name of this planet that they're trying to escape?
I do not.
I don't even know if they say the name.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Leave it in the comments. One of you knows.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's how
You've seen it
prepared
12
we are.
times.
Sorry. So this was one of my favorite moments about this, and one of my favorite things about The Last Jedi was that they had Billie Lourd step up. I love Billie Lourd. If anybody's seen Scream Queens, hilarious stuff. Just really funny. You get to see her just be this crazy, cynical girl in a sorority. So, just hilarious stuff happening there. But great to see her step up and actually have a real role, because in TFA she was like
actually a character instead of just somebody who's sitting around the screens and kind of doing some background stuff and a blurb here and there. It was great to see her pop up. Right.
Anybody else having? Okay, bye. So this was kind of a thing. Hux looks like he is doped up on something. I don't know if anybody sees that, but he looks strung out.
No, he definitely looks like he is. He's been in college for about 4, 5, 7, 12 years now, right?
And pulling all-nighters the whole time?
Oh yeah, just completely running on an Adderall fix that he can't maintain. And,
that's my 2 cents on it.
No.
Do you have anything to say about Hux? Do you like Hux?
Yeah. No, I'm not really.
He's kind of overdoes it a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the Tarkin, on steroids or whatever.
I think I enjoy him for that, because he's kind of like a cartoon of just that Imperial officer.
Yeah, it's definitely like
where Tarkin was very stoic and just authoritarian. Hux is like a very he's cartoon-esque version of that.
Yeah.
So
it's like Tarkin is just like this incredibly tame version of a Nazi. Just we're willing to do whatever it takes. But he's very tame. Whereas this guy's like he's kind of your Hitler type.
I almost think it's the opposite, because The Last Jedi, the whole joking in the very beginning, there ain't no joking between Leia and Tarkin.
Yeah,
yeah.
Right. No, what I'm saying is just in general, Tarkin's very tame as far as he acts. I'm just talking about we're comparing Tarkin and Hux, and in general, like how Hux is just kind of over the top. So he is a cartoon version of Tarkin.
I see.
So yeah, I just had to get the images of these. The Dreadnought's pretty cool. It's like a extra thick slice of pie. Anybody have anything to do?
Yeah. I guess if the Millennium Falcon's a cheeseburger, then yeah. Dreadnought is a fine slice of pie.
Anyway, something like that. It's just the visuals were really cool. So anything to say about that? No. Yeah.
It was sweet, but it was kind of out of nowhere. We'd never really seen something so crazy. It was just like a Dreadnought.
It was surprising because it just came out of hyperspace and it was just there.
That definitely was an awe factor, seeing that kind of like, whoa, that's a crazy cool ship. It's been a while since we've seen a crazy cool ship in Star Wars. Excluding.
I guess it's nice that they called it out too, because the opening sequence for Revenge, when there's just ships everywhere.
Yeah.
And Anakin and Obi-Wan are just flying through the muck. And there's just one ship after another.
There's like 20. There's like 20 new ships being introduced at the same time.
Yeah, right. But you don't really get a chance to actually hone in. And I think that's the thing that I kind of liked about these new movies too, is they kind of give some breathing space. There's a lot going on, but whereas the prequels, it was just, how much can we fit in a frame? How much stuff can we throw in like a single pocket? And especially when it came to the space scenes, it was like, holy crap, so much depth and dimension that it was almost too much to focus on. I mean, it was good at times, but I kind of like the way this drops back a little bit, and it's just like, oh damn, here's this badass huge ship that we didn't even know existed.
I think it's interesting almost because the prequels took us back to planets that we'd already been, while there were a lot of characters we weren't familiar with, like Tatooine. We go back to Tatooine in the prequels, and there's all these people and all like all this stuff going on that we're not really familiar with. But it's Tatooine. We're still used to that planet. And then Coruscant, we hadn't been to Coruscant, but we knew about it. But a lot of the planets and a lot of the places we're going in The Force Awakens are places we've never been. I don't know. Like, the breathing room is there, but I'd love to see a familiar planet. It'd be rad.
Katie Dickey, but anyway, she's a great British actress, and she was in Prometheus. If you saw that movie that was like 10 years ago, I see that. So yeah, once again, this is our like weird joke moment where they kind of insert the weird humor here with the general hugs.
Can I tell you one of the other places that kind of crept up that just made his character a little more lovable in that kind of you hate him way? Was he's in that new Peter Rabbit movie? You seen him?
Donald Gleason is?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he plays basically Peter's antagonist.
Okay, so you've seen it. So you've seen Peter Rabbit. I haven't seen it because you have daughters. So
yeah.
Why.
We go out and do these kind of things.
Yeah.
Which is why I haven't seen Last Jedi 6 more times. I'm busy seeing other enjoyable animated shows like Paddington and Peter Rabbit. But hilariously enough, he plays a total Hux character in that.
Oh really?
Well, he's just
kind of villainous.
He's just an angry guy with a garden, and Peter Rabbit and his friends are basically living out their enjoyable lives in their place. He moves in, basically sees them destroying the garden, and then it turns into this like total, one against the other, both vying for the affections of a female.
I actually loved him in Ex Machina with.
Yes, Oscar.
Well, it's with Oscar Isaac. What I'm an idiot. Oscar Isaac and Donald Gleason. But anyway, what did you think of the hugs joke?
Honestly, the very first time I saw it, I didn't even really catch the
it's
hugs.
weird.
It was like halfway into the dialogue before I realized, oh, this is totally humor, like Marvel humor.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting it at all. Especially like right off the bat. It really did catch me by surprise. And like the mother comment, I don't know, like wasn't bad, but
yeah, there's a lot
kind of
shoehorned.
Yeah, out of place.
As many have said, doesn't belong in Star Wars. This moment here, kind of interesting, fun moment. Like one fighter up against them all, so they just let him sit there, and he's like hacking into their Wi-Fi or something here at this point, and trying to steal stuff while at the same time distracting, so that the entire fleet. From a war tactical point of view, this is kind of a ludicrous moment because, it's like one soldier going out there to distract an entire fleet while the rest of the fleet, and it's really silly actually, but it's pretty silly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty silly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It is silly. You got it.
I'm trying to think of like a moment that could have been similar that we've seen in Star Wars before, but no.
Just really,
the only time we've seen something like go straight up against the whole fleet is the Millennium Falcon, and it's running away, and it goes to the asteroid field.
Right, it's being chased.
Yeah, it's being chased. Yeah, he's not going straight headed. No, the only that. Nuh-uh.
What this reminded me of is like a Battlestar Galactica moment. Is what it did.
Yeah.
It's like no holds barred. You're the only people out there. You're up against the whole Cylon fleet that's coming after you. You really don't have a choice, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that's kind of the setting that was in, but that was kind of a weird thing with me and just the way the Rebel Alliance is set up here, is you think they're so much bigger than they are. Especially after their victory of taking out an entire planet with a giant space gun, and then here they all are, just this small band of rebels running for their lives against a giant dreadnought.
It is actually silly in the parallels of that. Now they're just turning, and then by the end of this movie, they're calling them rebels. The parallels are just. So yeah, pretty stupid. Everybody makes fun of that. So he's too close to range. One fighter's too close, so we can't hit him. Okay, it doesn't make any sense.
Everybody keep your eyes on him though, because we can't hit him, but let's all watch him anyway.
Let's all get distracted by him anyway, because he's just so damn handsome. And this is the moment where electricity is apparently like a fluid that is escaping for BB-8. Everybody made fun of this too.
I really thought about that all that much.
It's like a puzzle or something.
Right? It's almost like.
But he's actually
just
trying to revert the shields to the forward end, and all the fuses keep blowing.
Well, it's like he's like playing crossword with electrical current. It's just silly. Once again, more it's just silly stuff. It's fine, whatever. It's stupid. Lots of the word "punch it" in this whole beginning sequence. You hear it twice, and so it made me think of Alien once again. A lot of Alien references here. But apparently, it's like they say it "punch it" like twice or 3 times. But anyway,
with that said, I can't be the only one who it bugs that there was no. I have a bad feeling about this. Like, I know that BB-8 was supposed to be the one who said it. That
it's a tradition.
I don't know where Rian Johnson said it, but I swear he said BB-8 says it in the beginning of the movie, and that's why I posed like "happy thoughts, little buddy," and then he makes multiple references saying "good thoughts, happy thoughts, the plan will go well, good feelings." He literally says that, so it's like
so he's trying to play around it.
Yeah, it's like play around the fact that it was BB-8 who said it, but dude, that's like the most iconic line, and it wasn't there. Like,
well,
it was
strangely enough, in the punch it line is Han.
Yeah.
Han says that from the originals.
Yeah. And
with the Millennium Falcon, so they're trying to make the parallels with Poe and Han there.
Yeah. Or Ho and Pon. So yeah, this is a funny moment. The nervous expression off of 3PO's face, of course. Kind of, because 3PO already has a nervous expression on his face, so that was actually kind of brilliant.
Or has no expression. If you think about it, I mean, the robot with no expression, he's got no face. He's
right, but his face is nervous when you call it that, and he looks like that. Anyway.
Well, it's more his body mannerisms because he's always kind of kicked back like that, very just tense all the time. That was a great line.
Yeah. Well, and half of it is just like we know C-3PO, you know, so it's like you knew he was gonna have some remark, and it was good because it was all the original trilogy characters right there. It's Leia, it's 3PO, it's Star Wars.
Okay, we're moving on again. Everybody loved this moment with the falling bombs in space. Everybody loved the gravity that was happening here. It did take me by surprise because the bombs finally go, and it's like, it's like, okay, so how are they falling? But how is she still breathing in space? But of course, there's there's force fields, and so you're easily able to. And that I assume that's what's happening here. That they all have force fields.
That's also never been introduced as far as you hear about force fields. I think as far as like when Obi-Wan's trying to take out the tractor beam.
Well, but in the original trilogy, all the time you see the bay doors of a Star Destroyer, and they're going in and out of that thing all the time, and so that's always been established that is a force field.
Yeah. I guess it's one of the things.
What else would it be?
Well, right. No, I completely agree. I mean, when obviously when they're in the Death Star, they're kind of walking around. Obviously the bay door's open, but it's not, type of thing.
Yeah.
And I guess the Millennium Falcon gets pulled through it at one point. But yeah, for this one, I mean, you don't really see it or anything like that.
It takes you by surprise because you're literally. I was literally thinking, oh my gosh, how is she breathing? Because you don't. There's no evidence of a force field, and so it's introduced. It's not even anyway. It's weird.
What I thought actually originally was that there's artificial gravity on that ship, right? Because she's not floating away, so the bombs are being affected by the artificial gravity. So maybe the artificial gravity pulls it down out of the force field, and once it's in space, it's already in motion, so it's going to go that way.
According to canon, they're powered by magnetic technology, so that's what.
Oh, that was going to be my second.
In canon, that's the established thing. So for whatever that's worth. All right, we're moving on. Does anybody have? So this is a little Space Invaders moment. Seeing all the bombers got annihilated in like the first 20 seconds of them pulling up there.
If you remember from A New Hope. A New Hope has something like that where they see the fighters, but I don't know, kind of neat little.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I know exactly what you mean. And, okay, we're gonna keep going, guys. Sorry. Once again, I don't know. I loved her in Prometheus. She was great. So this was kind of a weird moment, like with Snoke. He's yanking him around. Like I heard like half the theater laughing and half the theater was being serious. I think that was one of the biggest issues with this film is that people didn't really know where they should be laughing or not, and it's one of those things where it's literally a guessing game. Whether oh my gosh, is this funny? I can't tell. So it was kind of bizarre that way.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Visually speaking, it feels so Star Wars, but then all of a sudden it feels so Marvel, and then all of a sudden it feels, really dramatic, and then back to the humor again. You know, there were some good light touches, but yeah, I think my initial reaction from this was just like, oh, you know, it's kind of like, damn, that's brutal, but also kind of funny still because you're.
Well, because he's being yanked around like a rag doll, and
Well, it's also cartoon Hux, you know.
Yeah,
So it's
right.
You know what I thought is, man, Vader wouldn't have let him off that easy. I mean, God, Admiral Nita in the asteroid field, he gets choked out from space. He killed that dude.
Yeah.
He wasn't having it,
Dude.
Well, I mean, but Hux is definitely in a higher
position.
Yeah, he's in a higher position. Plus, there's not many other people around to kill. They've introduced. They're just not.
Okay, so we're gonna try to keep trucking along here. So this was a funny, weird thing because Finn's trying to be serious in this scene. That once again, this goes back to your humor issue, tones issues. Like he's got the water, shooting out of him, which is I guess supposed to be comical. It's fine. It wasn't funny to me, but he's trying to be serious. Like the one thing on his mind is Rey, and I actually tried reading the novel. I tried, and I didn't get past like the first couple of chapters, but. And he's very serious. Just the one thing on his mind is Rey, and it's like, I don't know. It's just funny how just water shooting all over the place. It's fine, but whatever.
Well, and this would have been a good time for a decent scene of bringing him up to speed. Getting him involved. Because the last he remembers is getting chopped up in the forest by Kylo, not knowing if Rey's alive, how he's even here.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
We could have really grounded Finn's, need to get off that ship and find Rey or something.
Yeah.
But instead, it gets turned into.
Or have him say something like, did Chewie make it out okay, or something like something.
Yeah, anything like a connection between
something to connect us to the Force Awakens. I think there was so much disconnect to the Force Awakens. Like every single thing was completely disconnected from that. So I think that's where I find it hard to find them. Even intertwined at all.
The only thing I thought was I wanted to see the back to tank. I'm just like keep bringing it back to like I want to see stuff from Star Wars we've already saw. And I don't know. The moment I saw that, I was like, oh, the back to tank was cooler. Luke in the back to tank was sweeter. I don't know. It makes more sense technologically speaking.
Yeah, and I suppose so. And I suppose maybe they were just trying to like update the tech because it's 30 years ahead of time, and maybe this is the new thing. But
it doesn't look very updated to me. The back to tank was efficient.
Oh yeah, and it actually stayed in the medical bay where it should have.
Tubes are better than a tank, apparently. Tubes shooting fluid all over the place.